and yet you like it more than here. Not that everybody's so great. That lawyer I met would sue his mother, I'm sure of it. But life is going on outside. They're all so different from each other. Everybody you meet has a little crack to make. His eyes are open. Nothing's locked up. Even when they're sitting still, they're sitting in the sun. It's all moving. The thing is moving. A day's got color. The people are feeling everything, looking at you, staring at everything. I hate to say this, it makes me feel like a spy. Now, by the end of the novel, he's resolved the kidnapping and all that without fixing his relationship with his father, and he makes a final case for abandoning his the U.S. and moving to Italy. And that's where the novel ends. We don't know what happens. Now, what I have found in the art of the son, William Papaleo, he actually moved back to Italy. Bill Papaleo is an artist. We've had some of his paintings here. I think they're on their way back from showing. And he lives in Vietri sul Mare, which is just south of Naples. I lived actually there for 6 months when I had a Fulbright. While his father focused on the Italian attempts to assimilate into American culture, Bill Papaleo continues that story as the third generation of the experience, and in his own way, he has achieved a strong sense of what it meant for his grandparents to leave their home for a new life. Through his return to Italy, the home of his ancestors, this grandson of immigrants to the United States has become a new immigrant to Italy. He is one of the immigrants. The difference between the art of father and son lies in the perspective. Bill grew up knowing that the suffering of earlier generations made it possible for him to live a life less challenged by mainstream United States culture. He has traveled an easier road paved by the hard work of those who came before him. Educated and trained in American art, he has brought his background to bear on his new life as a man of two countries. William has become the American Italian through his unique perspective as immigrant to what his family referred to as the old country. He takes the old country and makes it new. This is something that much of his art does as well. The discussion of immigrants in Italy today is an old one for the United States, one that is filled with a diverse and difficult history of exclusion and the toll that inclusion demands from body and mind. The site of this transformation has more often than not been work. Where's the job? It is through job, what the novelist Pietro referred to with a capital J, job, that immigrants have paid their dues to become the new citizens of the old country. And it is through their experience that Italy is renewed as a land of immigration. It is through art such that you will find in William Papaleo's work that we can see and reach beyond the real and sometimes even achieve the impossible. The return of the grandson of immigrants can help us to see the humanity of these people instead of the stereotypes that are shown on television, news, and other media. So we talk about the stereotypes of the Neapolitans with the mandolins and so on and so forth. What about the stereotype of the immigrant who's coming into Italy? Bill Papaleo breaks that up. These are bad copies of his slides, of his work. But he focuses on the space that immigrants take up inside Naples. His art humanizes the immigrant in ways that other portrayals cannot. Viewing Papaleo's work takes us beyond a fear based on not knowing and to a realization that they who have been driven here to Naples, often for reasons beyond their control, are really not very different from us, in spite of their skin color, their dress, or their customs. Papaleo sees anew through the eyes that know what immigration can do to individuals and their families. And through his art, we can also gain new perspectives that will help us to navigate through today's transnational world. The key to appreciating the role that Bill's art plays in understanding Italian-American identity and how it changes from one generation to another is not, as many organizations expect it to be, something to be passed on complete in toto from grandparent to child to grandchild and so forth. It's a simple look at the differences that are between the work he creates out of what I had earlier shown, his New England sources and his Italian sources. So in his Italian works, and this is all I'm going to focus on and then I'm out of here, he talks about, he says, of all the this is a quote from him, Of all the TV and film images that have been presented by masters such as Scorsese, none of their characters are identifiable to my experience or sensitivities in even the slightest sense. The vast panorama of images and ways of seeing for an Italian American have not been really explored. Italian workers that I have met and painted have often been well-read and aware politically. So he does a lot of painting of workers in the shipyards. He does work, people who are working on the streets, the immigrants. He spends time portraying these workers in a number of his paintings. What's interesting is that if you looked at Bill's, I don't have time to show you, but in the longer talk, I show his American paintings, which are very dark and always in the forest and so on. And in these vicoli, these little side streets in Naples, it's just filled with light, as if for Bill, this child of Italian immigrants, this new immigrant to Italy, sees the light inside the darkness, whereas other people will show you the dark. Oh, don't go into that street, it's dark. He also paints public places and shows the immigrants inside these public places. And he says these paintings evolved out of my work with Amnesty International, which he'd gotten involved with through the University of Salerno. He did some work with as a translator and as a contributor of artwork for the Gifoni Film Festival, Gifoni, where the best directors of human rights films received paintings of his. He says, through Amnesty International, I was also introduced to the politics around immigration in Italy and to several immigrants whom I arranged to be interviewed. So he shows these above, these scenes, for example, above Naples. Nigerian workers, in these paintings, the African-Italian workers seem to be alone against the background of the city scenes and urban landscapes, which brings attention not only to their work, but also to their place in contemporary Neapolitan society. Papaleo points out the motivation for his work and some of the reasons why he chooses to remake Naples through the images of the new immigrants. And he says, in a sense, I am life imitating art. My father's inner conflict between success and inferiority, the desire to assimilate, and the resistance to lose his American and Italian cultural identity gave energy to my own desires to choose the Italian road less traveled. When I came to Italy to paint, it was often like the call of an unconscious memory. I was not here to simply study the grandeurs of the past. The old world seemed strangely contemporary to me. The juxtaposition of pagan and Christian imagery, along with the confusion of the teeming, traffic-filled streets, seemed a lyrical way to jump into the 21st century. I've written on my website that we are living in a strange civilization. Our minds and souls are so overlaid with fear, with artificiality, that we often do not recognize beauty. And this is what he does in his paintings. And especially in the paintings where he mixed the immigrants in Italy today with the immigrants into America, the Italian immigrants to the United States. It's interesting, well, these African workers, I said, blend in well with their surrounding landscape, suggesting that it is through their work they will earn the sense of belonging to Italy and deserving all the rights reserved for Italian citizens. It's interesting that some of the most revealing scenes of Naples today come to us through the children and grandchildren of Neapolitans who had immigrated to the United States. These Italian-American artists show us through immigrant sensibilities the images that one man's version of hell might function as another's vision of heaven. Through their art, they have given us new insights into Naples by seeing it through the filters of the new citizens to Naples who have left their homelands, led by the call to go make Naples.